Go get them, President Trump. Reduce that spending. We're behind you 1,000%. Well, he has. He has. 0.1% he's asking us to reduce. And I'm not saying senators shouldn't ask questions and make some changes if they need to be made, but here's the bottom line. It is gut check time. It is gut check time. You either believe in reducing spending or you don't. We're given $3,600,000 for male prostitutes. The president's saying, I don't think so. I don't think that the American people support giving their hard-earned money to male prostitutes.
John Kennedy didn't give a speech. He exposed the scam right on the Senate floor. Democrats love hiding behind big numbers. $7 trillion. Sounds untouchable, right? Then Kennedy stood up and backed President Trump's demand to cut just 0.1%. 0.1%. And suddenly the outrage exploded. Why? Because that tiny cut forces them to defend the garbage buried inside that budget. Pastry classes in Haiti, insect powder projects in Madagascar, taxpayer money shipped overseas for programs Americans would never approve if they actually knew. While families here are scraping by. Rent up. Groceries up. Gas up. Kennedy didn't rant. He surgically walked through the waste and asked the question that shattered the room. If it's only 0.1%, why are you fighting like your lives depend on it? Because oversight terrifies them. Transparency terrifies them. And President Trump demanding accountability terrifies them most of all. Stay with me as we expose the hypocrisy. Let's get into it.
Next week, President Trump's going to send us over what's called a rescission bill. What does that mean? Well, we've got a $7 trillion budget. Okay? I don't know how much of that $7 trillion is waste, but every fair-minded person would have to agree that there's some money being spent in that $7 trillion that shouldn't be spent. It just shouldn't. It's wasted money. And so President Trump and this Congress made one of its objectives trying to reduce spending. Not spending that we need to reduce, but spending that needs to be reduced. I call it spending porn. And the president has sent us a bill. He's saying to Congress, I want you to reduce spending in the current budget by $9.1 billion. And let me tell you what the spending, what constitutes the spending I want to reduce. Well, first, $9.1 billion out of a $7 trillion budget, we're not talking about a lot of money here. We're talking about 0.1%. That's all. That's point one. Point two, you need to look at what the president's asking us to cut out. I'll just give you a couple of examples. I didn't make this up. The president is saying we're giving $3 million to Iraq to produce Sesame Street. Maybe we could use that money for something else. The president is saying we're giving $3 million to Zambia for circumcisions and vasectomies. The president's saying we don't need to do that. We've got other priorities. We're giving $500,000 to Rwanda to buy electric buses. The president is saying to us, Congress, we don't need to be spending the money on that. There are more important things. We're spending $67,000 to give insect powder to kids in Madagascar. I don't even know what insect powder is, but the president's asking us to cut it out. We're giving $3,600,000 to Haiti for pastry cooking classes, for cyber cafes, for dance focus groups, for male prostitutes. The president's saying, I don't think so. I don't think that the American people support giving their hard-earned money to male prostitutes in Haiti. So he's asking us to cut it out. He's asking us to reduce the budget by $833,000 because some of President Biden's bureaucrats gave a contract to transgender people, sex workers, and their clients in Nepal. The president's saying, I don't want to do that. And he's right. That's enough. You get the idea. That's why I call it spending porn. Triggers your gag reflex. You look at this stuff and you go, what in God's name? Who decided to do this? Well, Congress didn't. The bureaucrats did. It's money we appropriated, but we didn't tell them to go spend money, $833,000, and give to sex workers in Nepal. They just took the money we appropriated and used it for that. And so the president is asking us to do what's called a rescission, to cancel the spending. Now, I have listened, I've been here 8 years, Mr. President, and I've listened to a whole bunch of people talk about the need to reduce spending. But you got to watch what people do, not what they say. Because talk is cheap. And around here, I've learned pretty quickly that reducing spending, it's like going to heaven. I want to go to heaven. I bet you want to go to heaven, Mr. President. I bet our guests in the gallery want to go to heaven. But everybody wants to go to heaven. Raise your hand if you're ready to take the trip today. Most people, you are, sir, and I admire that, but most people want to live a little longer. And that's the way it is with reducing spending around here. I want to reduce spending. I support it, but not just yet, because I've got this project. Well, and I've listened to that. And I've especially listened to it for the past 100 days. Go get them, President Trump. Reduce that spending. We're behind you 1,000%. Well, he has. He has. 0.1% he's asking us to reduce. And I'm not saying senators shouldn't ask questions and make some changes if they need to be made, but here's the bottom line. It is gut check time. It is gut check time. You either believe in reducing spending or you don't. And if you talk the game and say, let's reduce spending, and you vote against this bill, in my opinion, you ought to hide your head in a bag. Because you will be able to cut the hypocrisy with a knife. It's real hard, Mr. President, to preach temperance from a bar stool. It's gut check time. We need to pass this bill.
All right. Now let's break down what you just watched, because this wasn't just another Senate speech. What Senator Kennedy did in that chamber was rip the comfort blanket off Washington. For years, Democrats have mastered the art of sounding responsible. They'll say they care about the deficit. They'll claim they support fiscal discipline. But when it's time to actually cut even a fraction of waste, suddenly it's too extreme. Suddenly it's dangerous. Suddenly it's heartless. Cutting $9. $1 billion out of a $7 trillion budget is not radical. It's not reckless. It's not cruel. It's basic math. And Kennedy exposed something bigger than just a spending line. He exposed the culture. The culture where bureaucrats treat your tax dollars like monopoly money. The culture where overseas pet projects and bloated programs get protected while American families are choosing between groceries and gas. This is where it gets crazy. The same people who scream about fairness are fighting to protect waste. The same politicians who claim to stand for working Americans are defending spending that never even touches American soil. That's the hypocrisy Kennedy was calling out. And notice something else. They didn't have a strong rebuttal. No powerful counterargument. Just outrage and deflection. Because when you strip it down to common sense, defending waste is indefensible. This isn't about party games. It's about priorities. Do you side with taxpayers who are squeezed every single day? Or do you side with the permanent Washington machine that always wants more? Kennedy made it a gut check moment. And that's why the room went quiet. Because when someone finally says what voters are already thinking, it makes career politicians uncomfortable. Let me know in the comments, do you think Washington is serious about cutting waste, or are they protecting the system?